Visit parthikachana.com for technology resources and stock analysis. Advanced prompt engineering interview questions. 1. How can you evaluate the effectiveness of different prompt engineering techniques for a specific task? Answer. To evaluate the effectiveness of different prompt engineering techniques, I would employ a combination of quantitative and qualitative methods. Quantitative metrics. Measure metrics such as accuracy, relevance, coherence, and creativity using automated evaluation tools or human raters. Qualitative analysis. Conduct a detailed analysis of the generated outputs to identify strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. A/B testing. Experiment with different prompts and techniques to compare their performance. User feedback. Gather feedback from users to assess the quality and relevance of the generated outputs. 2. How can you use prompt engineering to improve the interpretability of language models? Answer. To improve the interpretability of language models, I would focus on transparent prompts. Use prompts that clearly convey the desired task or output, making it easier to understand the model's reasoning. Explanation generation. Incorporate techniques that allow the model to generate explanations or justifications for its outputs. Visualization tools. Utilize visualization tools to help visualize the model's decision-making process. Model debugging. Employ debugging techniques to identify and address potential biases or errors in the model's outputs. 3. How can you use prompt engineering to address issues of fairness and bias in language models? Answer. To address fairness and bias in language models, I would focus on diverse datasets. Ensure the model is trained on diverse and representative data to avoid perpetuating biases. Fairness metrics. Use fairness metrics to evaluate the model's performance across different demographic groups. Bias mitigation techniques. Employ techniques such as adversarial training or deBiasing algorithms to reduce bias in the model's outputs. Human oversight. Involve human experts to review and correct biased outputs. 4. How can you use prompt engineering to create personalized language models for individual users? Answer. To create personalized language models, I would focus on user data. Collect and analyze relevant user data, such as preferences, interests, and past interactions. Transfer learning. Leverage transfer learning techniques to fine-tune a pre-trained language model on the user's specific data. Adaptive prompts. Create prompts that are tailored to the user's individual characteristics and needs. Continuous learning. Continuously update and improve the personalized model based on new user data. 5. How can you use prompt engineering to generate creative and original content in emerging domains like art, music, or code? Answer. To generate creative content in emerging domains, I would focus on domain-specific knowledge. Incorporate relevant domain knowledge into the prompts. Example prompts. Provide examples of the desired output style or format. Constraints. Specify any constraints or limitations, such as genre, style, or theme. Iterative refinement. Continuously refine the prompts based on the generated content to improve quality and originality. Experimentation. Try different prompt formats, techniques, and models to explore new possibilities. 6. How can you use prompt engineering to improve the efficiency and scalability of language models? Answer. To improve the efficiency and scalability of language models, I would focus on prompt optimization. Craft concise and informative prompts that minimize ambiguity and reduce computational costs. Model selection. Choose the most appropriate model for the task based on its capabilities and efficiency. Hardware optimization. Leverage specialized hardware such as GPUs or TPUs to accelerate model execution. Distributed training. Train large language models on distributed systems to improve scalability. Quantization. Reduce the precision of model parameters to reduce memory footprint and computational cost. 7. How can you use prompt engineering to address the challenges of low-resource languages? Answer. To address the challenges of low-resource languages, I would focus on data augmentation. Use techniques like back translation or data synthesis to increase the amount of training data. Transfer learning. Leverage pre-trained models from high-resource languages and fine-tune them on low-resource data. Multilingual models. Train multilingual models that can handle multiple languages simultaneously. Prompt engineering techniques. Employ prompt engineering techniques to improve the performance of language models on low-resource languages, such as using few-shot learning or providing more context. 8. How can you use prompt engineering to create interactive and engaging conversational agents? Answer. To create interactive and engaging conversational agents, I would focus on natural language understanding. Ensure the agent can effectively understand and respond to user queries. Contextual awareness. Maintain context throughout the conversation to provide relevant and coherent responses. Personality and tone. Develop a distinct personality and tone for the agent that aligns with the desired user experience. User engagement. Incorporate techniques like humor, empathy, and personalization to keep users engaged. 9. How can you use prompt engineering to address the ethical implications of language models? Answer. To address the ethical implications of language models, I would focus on bias mitigation. Ensure the model is trained on diverse and representative data to avoid perpetuating biases. Transparency and explainability. Make the model's decision-making process transparent and explainable. Human oversight. Involve human experts to review and correct biased or harmful outputs. Ethical guidelines. Adhere to ethical guidelines and principles when developing and deploying language models. 10. How can you use prompt engineering to improve the quality of machine translation? Answer. To improve the quality of machine translation, I would focus on contextual information. Provide additional context, such as the topic or domain of the text, to enhance translation accuracy. Back translation. Translate the generated output back into the original language to identify errors and inconsistencies. Human evaluation. Involve human translators to assess the quality of the generated translations. Customization. Allow users to customize the translation process based on their specific needs or preferences. 11. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different writing styles? Answer. To generate different writing styles, I would focus on style prompts. Provide specific instructions or examples of the desired style, such as formal, informal, persuasive, or creative. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the desired style. Model selection. Choose a model that is well suited for the desired style, such as one trained on a corpus of that specific style. 12. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different tones or moods? Answer. To generate different tones or moods, I would focus on emotional prompts. Provide prompts that evoke specific emotions, such as happiness, sadness, anger, or fear. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the desired tone or mood. Model selection. Choose a model that is well suited for the desired tone or mood, such as one trained on a corpus of emotional texts. 13. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different genres of writing? Answer. To generate different genres of writing, I would focus on genre-specific prompts. Provide prompts that are specific to the desired genre, such as science fiction, fantasy, mystery, or historical fiction. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the genre. Model selection. Choose a model that is well suited for the desired genre, such as one trained on a corpus of texts from that genre. 14. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different levels of formality? Answer. To generate different levels of formality, I would focus on formality prompts. Provide prompts that specify the desired level of formality, such as formal, informal, or casual. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the desired level of formality. Model selection. Choose a model that is well suited for the desired level of formality, such as one trained on a corpus of texts from that formality level. 15. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different lengths of text? Answer. To generate different lengths of text, I would focus on length prompts. Provide prompts that specify the desired length, such as a short paragraph, a long essay, or a poem. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that suggest the appropriate length. Model selection. Choose a model that is capable of generating text of the desired length, such as one trained on a corpus of texts of varying lengths. 16. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different target audiences? Answer. To generate different target audiences, I would focus on audience prompts. Provide prompts that specify the desired target audience, such as children, teenagers, adults, or professionals. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the desired target audience. Model selection. Choose a model that is well-suited for the desired target audience, such as one trained on a corpus of texts that are relevant to that audience. 17. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different levels of detail? Answer. To generate different levels of detail, I would focus on detail prompts. Provide prompts that specify the desired level of detail, such as a summary, a detailed description, or a comprehensive analysis. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that suggest the appropriate level of detail. Model selection. Choose a model that is capable of generating text with a desired level of detail, such as one trained on a corpus of texts with varying levels of detail. 18. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different perspectives? Answer. To generate different perspectives, I would focus on perspective prompts. Provide prompts that specify the desired perspective, such as first person, third person, or omniscient. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the desired perspective. Model selection. Choose a model that is well-suited for the desired perspective, such as one trained on a corpus of texts from that perspective. 19. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different cultural contexts? Answer. To generate different cultural contexts, I would focus on cultural prompts. Provide prompts that specify the desired cultural context, such as a particular country, time period, or social class. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the desired cultural context. Model selection. Choose a model that is well-suited for the desired cultural context, such as one trained on a corpus of texts from that culture. 20. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different themes or topics? Answer. To generate different themes or topics, I would focus on topic prompts. Provide prompts that specify the desired theme or topic, such as love, loss, friendship, or adventure. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the desired theme or topic. Model selection. Choose a model that is well-suited for the desired theme or topic, such as one trained on a corpus of texts from that theme or topic. 21. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different sensory experiences? Answer. To generate different sensory experiences, I would focus on sensory prompts. Provide prompts that evoke specific sensory experiences, such as sight, sound, taste, smell, or touch. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the desired sensory experience. Model selection. Choose a model that is well-suited for the desired sensory experience, such as one trained on a corpus of texts that describe sensory experiences. 22. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different emotional responses? Answer. To generate different emotional responses, I would focus on emotional prompts. Provide prompts that evoke specific emotions, such as happiness, sadness, anger, or fear. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that align with the desired emotional response. Model selection. Choose a model that is well-suited for the desired emotional response, such as one trained on a corpus of texts that evoke that emotion. 23. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different levels of complexity? Answer. To generate different levels of complexity, I would focus on complexity prompts. Provide prompts that specify the desired level of complexity, such as simple, complex, or sophisticated. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that suggest the appropriate level of complexity. Model selection. Choose a model that is capable of generating text with the desired level of complexity, such as one trained on a corpus of texts with varying levels of complexity. 24. How can you use prompt engineering to generate different levels of abstraction? Answer. To generate different levels of abstraction, I would focus on abstraction prompts. Provide prompts that specify the desired level of abstraction, such as general, specific, or detailed. Contextual clues. Incorporate contextual clues or references that suggest the appropriate level of abstraction. Model selection. Choose a model that is capable of generating text with the desired level of abstraction, such as one trained on a corpus of texts with varying levels of abstraction. 25. How would you design a prompt that generates concise responses, but also ensures the inclusion of essential details? Answer. To design a prompt that encourages concise responses while ensuring all essential details are covered, it's important to include instructions within the prompt that emphasize brevity and clarity. For example, I would phrase the prompt like, summarize the following text in 2 sentences, focusing on the key takeaways. I would also test this prompt iteratively, reviewing whether important points are being skipped. Additionally, providing a sample output in the prompt can guide the model toward the right balance of detail and conciseness. 26. Can you describe a scenario where you need to adapt a prompt for a task that requires understanding domain-specific jargon? How would you handle this? Answer. In a scenario where domain-specific jargon is needed, such as in a medical or legal document, I would include clear instructions in the prompt to ensure the model understands that specific language should be used. For example, generate a summary of the following medical research paper using the correct medical terminology. It's crucial to provide examples of the jargon or context to reinforce this requirement. Additionally, you can fine-tune the model with relevant domain-specific texts to enhance its understanding of the jargon, ensuring that it uses appropriate vocabulary. 27. How would you modify prompts for a multilingual model to ensure high-quality outputs in less commonly spoken languages? Answer. For less commonly spoken languages, I would design prompts that provide additional context and examples to guide the model. For instance, I might say, translate the following paragraph into Swahili, maintaining the tone and context of the original text. Providing examples of correct translations in the same language within the prompt can help the model handle less common languages more effectively. I would also recommend running A/B tests between multiple variations of the prompt and comparing the translations with a human speaker to ensure accuracy and fluency. 28. How would you handle a scenario where a model repeatedly generates outputs with gender bias, despite refining the prompt multiple times? Answer. If a model repeatedly generates gender-biased outputs, I would start by identifying the specific areas in the prompt where the bias might be surfacing. Then, I would explicitly instruct the model to avoid gender bias, such as by stating, generate this text without assuming gender-specific roles. Additionally, I would experiment with counterprompts to test how the model responds. In some cases, it's also helpful to fine-tune the model using neutral or diverse datasets to minimize the chance of bias reappearing, beyond just refining the prompt. 29. Can you describe how you would structure a prompt for generating code snippets in response to complex software design questions? Answer. To structure a prompt for generating code snippets, it's important to provide clear and unambiguous instructions along with examples. For a complex software design question, I would say something like, write a Python function that implements a binary search algorithm in fewer than 10 lines, ensuring efficiency and readability. I would also clarify the language to be used, performance expectations, and any coding standards that should be followed. It's critical to also verify outputs and test for edge cases to ensure the code is functional. 30. What strategies would you use to design a prompt that elicits detailed responses for data analysis tasks? Answer. For data analysis tasks, I would use prompts that request specific information, ensuring the model provides detailed outputs. For instance, analyze the following dataset and explain trends, outliers, and any correlations between variables. I would include examples of detailed responses in the prompt, showing how the model should structure its analysis. Additionally, encouraging the model to explain its reasoning step by step can help in producing more thorough analyses. Asking the model to generate visual aids or charts along with the explanation could also enhance detail. 31. In a scenario where you're working with a client from a non-technical background, how would you craft a prompt that simplifies complex AI concepts without losing accuracy? Answer. In this case, I would start with a prompt that clearly asks for a simplified explanation while preserving key concepts. For example, explain what a neural network is in simple terms for someone without a technical background. To ensure accuracy, I would provide a brief description or analogy in the prompt that could help frame the concept correctly. Testing the prompt to make sure that important details aren't oversimplified is also essential. Additionally, I might use visuals or step-by-step guides to make complex ideas more digestible. 32. How would you use prompt engineering to control the tone of responses in customer service chatbots? Answer. To control tone in customer service responses, I would design prompts that explicitly instruct the model on the desired tone. For example, respond to the following customer query in a friendly and helpful tone. Testing variations of this prompt will help find the right balance, depending on the context. Providing examples of ideal responses can help the model better align with the desired tone. I would also set up guardrails to avoid overly casual or formal language and continuously refine the prompt to maintain consistency in tone across different scenarios. 33. Imagine you need to create a prompt that encourages creativity and content generation while adhering to certain guidelines. How would you approach this? Answer. To foster creativity while adhering to guidelines, I would use a prompt that allows flexibility in ideas but clearly outlines constraints. For example, write a short story about an adventure, ensuring that the main character is an animal and the story has a happy ending. This gives the model room to be creative within set boundaries. I do provide some guiding points to keep the model on track, but leave aspects like narrative flow, character development, or dialogue open-ended to encourage creative outputs. 34. How would you structure a prompt to test a model's ability to follow multiple step instructions accurately? Answer. For multi-step tasks, I would structure the prompt in a clear, step-by-step format. For example, first, summarize this paragraph. Next, list 3 key takeaways. Finally, provide a recommendation based on the information. Breaking the task down into distinct, numbered steps helps the model follow instructions sequentially. I would also emphasize that each step must be completed before moving on to the next. Running tests on how the model handles these instructions will help gauge its ability to process complex, multi-step prompts. 35. How would you design a prompt for generating content that incorporates specific design patterns without tying it to a programming language? Answer. For design patterns without focusing on a specific language, I would craft the prompt in a way that highlights the concept, not the syntax. For instance, explain how the singleton design pattern can be used to manage database connections in software applications. This focuses on the design pattern's usage and benefits rather than tying it to any language. I would encourage the model to discuss the theory and practical applications of the pattern in various contexts to ensure the explanation is broad and language agnostic. 36. If tasked with generating instructional content on a highly niche topic, how would you ensure the model maintains accuracy and clarity? Answer. In this scenario, I would design the prompt to explicitly ask for clarity and simplicity while maintaining accuracy. For example, explain the steps involved in configuring a quantum computing simulator for beginners, ensuring the explanation is clear and easy to follow. I also provide context or sample explanations to guide the model. Verifying the generated content with subject matter experts would help ensure accuracy. Additionally, I encourage the model to break down complex terms or offer analogies for better understanding. 37. How would you create a prompt for generating test cases from a user story in a software development process? Answer. To generate test cases from a user story, I would provide the model with a structured prompt like, given the following user story, generate at least 3 test cases. Ensure that each test case addresses a different aspect of the user's requirements. I would include the user story in the prompt and specify that the test cases should cover edge cases as well. Testing the prompt on multiple stories helps in refining it to ensure that it generates comprehensive, useful test cases. 38. How would you handle a situation where the model's generated outputs become repetitive despite variations in prompts? Answer. If the outputs become repetitive, I would first analyze whether the prompts are too narrow or the training data too limited. I'd then introduce variability in the prompt itself, such as by adding instructions like, generate a completely unique response, considering different perspectives. I might also experiment with different temperature settings to introduce more randomness in the model's responses. Fine-tuning the model with a more diverse dataset or adding randomness within the prompt can also help reduce repetitive outputs. 39. Imagine you need to generate outputs in a style consistent with a specific brand voice. How would you design a prompt to meet this requirement? Answer. To align with a brand voice, I would design a prompt that clearly outlines the key elements of the desired style. For example, write a product description in a witty and energetic tone, similar to the brand voice of Brand X. Use playful language, but keep the focus on the product's benefits. I would also provide sample outputs to guide the model. Continuous testing is essential to ensure that the brand's personality is consistently reflected in the generated content, and I would fine-tune as needed. 40. Can you describe a scenario where prompt engineering helped you solve a performance issue in content generation, such as reducing latency? Answer. In a case where latency was an issue, I would focus on simplifying the prompt and reducing unnecessary layers of instruction. For example, instead of a lengthy multi-part prompt, I'd break it down into separate, simpler prompts and chain them together in a logical sequence. This would help the model focus on one task at a time, reducing the computational load. I'd also experiment with batch processing prompts or adjusting model parameters, like the max token count to enhance efficiency while maintaining output quality. 41. How would you modify a prompt to ensure that it generates diverse and varied responses to the same question? Answer. To encourage diverse responses, I would modify the prompt by adding explicit instructions such as, generate 3 different perspectives on the following topic. I could also tweak parameters like temperature to increase randomness in the responses. Additionally, testing the model on a wide variety of topics and input samples helps ensure that it continues to generate fresh perspectives. Prompt variation and experimentation with different phrasing would also contribute to greater response diversity. 42. How would you approach designing prompts to integrate data from external APIs or databases in natural language outputs? Answer. When designing prompts to integrate data from external APIs or databases, I would focus on creating a prompt that clearly defines the input and expected output. For example, using the data provided by a API/database, generate a summary of current trends in the housing market. I would ensure that the prompt asks the model to process and synthesize the data into a natural language format. Careful testing would be needed to verify that the model appropriately incorporates the external data and outputs accurate, well-structured responses. 43. How would you design a prompt to handle ambiguity in user inputs, ensuring that the model asks clarifying questions before proceeding with a task? Answer. To manage ambiguity in user inputs, I would design the prompt to encourage the model to request clarification before proceeding. For example, if the user input is unclear or lacks necessary details, ask follow-up questions to gain clarity before providing an answer. I would guide the model to handle common ambiguities by providing examples and structuring the prompt to prioritize accuracy over immediate responses. This helps ensure the model seeks clarification and doesn't make incorrect assumptions. 44. How would you structure a prompt for an AI to summarize long legal texts while ensuring critical legal terms are retained? Answer. For summarizing legal texts, I would use a prompt like, summarize this legal document in 3 to 4 sentences, ensuring that important legal terms and concepts like breach of contract and liability are preserved. The prompt should instruct the model to avoid paraphrasing critical legal terminology while condensing the content. Testing on a range of legal documents can help refine the prompt to ensure that no essential details are lost during summarization. 45. Imagine you need a model to generate code comments for existing code. How would you design a prompt to ensure the comments are informative and clear? Answer. I would craft the prompt like this. Add concise and clear comments to the following code, explaining the purpose of each function, variable, and logic block in plain language. I would provide examples of well-written code comments and specify that the comments should focus on explaining why the code is doing something, not just what it is doing. Testing the prompt on different code samples ensures that the comments are both informative and helpful to future developers. 46. In a scenario where you need a model to assist in creative brainstorming, how would you craft a prompt to elicit a wide range of novel ideas? Answer: I would structure the prompt to encourage expansive thinking. Generate 10 unique and creative ideas for a marketing campaign for a new eco-friendly product, considering different approaches such as social media, influencer partnerships, and community events. By explicitly asking for multiple ideas and specifying a variety of approaches, I guide the model to generate a diverse set of responses. Adding phrases like "think outside the box" can further encourage creative exploration. 47. How would you design a prompt to generate product descriptions that emphasize both technical features and emotional appeal to potential buyers? Answer: a well-balanced prompt would be: write a product description for a smartphone that highlights its technical features like battery life, camera quality, and storage capacity, while also emphasizing how it enhances the user's lifestyle and convenience. This prompt ensures that both the technical aspects and the emotional benefits of the product are captured. Providing examples of effective descriptions that blend these elements would help the model understand the desired balance. 48. How would you handle designing a prompt that generates varied training examples for a machine learning model to recognize certain patterns? Answer: I would structure the prompt to provide a range of examples across different scenarios. Generate 10 distinct training examples that illustrate patterns of fraudulent financial transactions, varying the types of transactions and the indicators of fraud. By specifying the need for variation, the prompt ensures the model creates diverse training data. Testing the output for consistency and relevance across a variety of cases would help refine the prompt to ensure robustness in training the machine learning model. 49. If tasked with generating educational content for children, how would you structure a prompt to ensure the language and concepts are age-appropriate? Answer: I would design the prompt with clear instructions. Explain the solar system to an 8-year-old in simple, fun language, using analogies and relatable examples. Keep the explanation under 200 words and avoid technical jargon. Providing age-specific guidance ensures the model tailors its output appropriately. Testing this prompt on various topics helps ensure that the content remains accessible, engaging, and accurate for the intended age group. 50. How would you craft a prompt to ensure that responses to sensitive topics, such as mental health, are compassionate and non-judgmental? Answer: I would create a prompt like, respond to this mental health query in a compassionate, non-judgmental tone, offering supportive advice and focusing on the well-being of the person asking the question. Including instructions to avoid making assumptions or offering diagnoses would help maintain the appropriate tone. Testing the prompt on various sensitive scenarios ensures the model remains empathetic and supportive while providing useful information. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Visit parthakachana.com for technology resources and stock analysis.